Good afternoon. Today is Friday, May the 24th, 2024. The time now is 12:17 p.m. So, I have said multiple times that Africa is a continent that is ripe for revolution. And when I say revolution, I mean massive changes in Africa. Political revolution, economic revolution, technological revolution, social revolution. However, I do believe that the greatest impact could come from a political revolution. And this being the case that the African people are angry. The African people are traumatized. The African people are tired. And they are tired whether because of Africa's position in the world, okay, among many countries and people and entities out there. And by the way, Africa is a continent. Africa is a continent. I am just using phrasing it in the manner that I just did. Okay, among countries, among continents, among people, among entities internationally. Now, Africa and Africans, we are a continent and a people who continue to watch African raw materials being taken out of the continent, money leaving the continent, while outsiders are enjoying the fruits of African labor and also African riches, while these same people, when Africans go to their countries, they mistreat Africans. Now, what I'm going to talk about today pertains to Kenya. So this is going to be a domestic as well as a geopolitical talk because it does have some geopolitical implications. But it's also domestic because it is impactful on the people of Kenya domestically. And I'm talking specifically about the Kenyan president, William Ruto. Okay? But first, let me stress in terms of the idea or the possibility of a revolution in Africa in many ways, and most especially a political revolution. This, I believe, could happen because African leaders continue to put their finger, okay, basically flip off the African people and poke the African people in their eyes. And it is also a result not so much of corruption, but the form of government that we practice, democracy. And I'm not saying this out of spite for democracy, but I am saying this because the manner of democracy that is practiced, Africans are trying to practice Western style democracy, while at the same time ignoring the uniqueness of African situation. We do not need democracy in Africa. We need unifier. Now, the unifier could be harsh in various ways. Okay? The unifier, the strong man, could be a complete idiot. But if that strong man, that idiot, is building roads in Africa, if that strong man, that idiot, is building schools, university, if he and his government is insisting that African riches remain in Africa so that the people can enjoy the fruits of what God has placed in the belly of Africa. If that leader ensures that African youth and people remain at home in Africa, create the incentives for African brains to stay in Africa, build universities, community colleges, libraries, build roads, build ports, okay? Improve the infrastructure in Africa, invest heavily on agriculture so that Africans do not have to go out begging for people, even though our land, okay, is the most fruitful land in the world. Africa is home to 60% of the world's arable land. I'm going to repeat and rephrase that. Africa is home to about 60% of the world's land that is good for farming. Yet our people are hungry. Give me a fool who ensures and his government fight at all cost to limit or to discourage or to prevent corruption or destabilization or civil conflict or corruption or the tendency or reality of foreigners, outsiders, foreign institutions coming and disrupting Africa. Give me that leader who ensures that that never happened. I will basically support him at all costs. We do not need democracy. We need truth and reconciliation in that we have leaders who accept the current situation, reconcile among themselves, and say, we will swear to the people of Africa, we will change the situation. When that happens, Africa will change. So far, right now, currently, we have leaders in Africa who are so keen, they are so fixated on trying to be celebrities of the West, celebrities of the rich and powerful countries, who are basically what I will call social media presidents. Okay? They are so fixated in trying to fit in with the world's elite that all they do is humiliate Africa and destroy the lives of the people. So William Ruto is said to be on a 4 days trip to the United States to discuss certain things with Joe Biden. First of all, I'm going to say that off the back, it is very suspicious. What is in there to talk to Joe Biden? But it's also interesting. It shows the power dynamics between Africa, African states, and the United States. Just about 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, the president of Liberia, it is interesting that Joseph Boakai of Liberia came to the United States and could not even get a time with Joe Biden. What does that mean? Liberia, you are nothing. The United States doesn't give a crap about you. You are only important for your geopolitical perspective or position in terms of how much it benefits the United States or the West. I just want to stress that. And I'm not speaking out of spite, but I'm speaking out of or with the honesty that I feel deep within me. But so William Ruto, the president of Kenya, his trip to the United States, which is a 4 day trip or so, is said to cost $1.5 million. Once again, William Ruto, the president of Kenya, his trip to the United States is said to cost $1.5 million. So he comes to the United States not using the Kenyan government plane, but he chartered a business private luxury plane or jet from a company in Dubai, which cost Kenya or the Kenyan people $1.5 million. This is very sad, given William Ruto was the guy who came to power, okay, talking a bunch of nonsense, criticizing other African leaders, and he is now doing exactly what he criticized others for. But it's also interesting. When I heard the news and I started looking into it, one thing that came to mind is, did he decide to use private jet in advance, or was this a result of fear from the death of Iran's president, Ibrahim Raisi, whose helicopter went down on Sunday? So if this was planned way in advance, then it is disrespectful to the people of Africa and to the people of Kenya. But if it's also due to fear resulting from the death of Ibrahim Raisi, it is also stupid, irresponsible, hypocritical, and disrespectful to the people of Africa and the people of Kenya. Another thing that basically rubs me wrongly. Just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was a massive flood in Kenya, which by the time I did the first video on Kenya, about 228 or so people have died and hundreds of thousands had been displaced, with thousands of properties damaged or destroyed. With this being the case, the president of Kenya, people, the president of Kenya, the land of the Maasai, William Ruto, while the people of Kenya are still dealing with the trauma of their flood, the recent flood, decide to give a Dubai company $1.5 million so that he can bring some celebrities and other people, including a comedian, to come and rendezvous in the United States with Joe Biden. This, if Africans or if the people of Kenya, okay, if the people of Kenya are not pissed, God bless Africa, because we are done. We are done. We do not have leaders in Africa. As PLO Lumumba would say, all we have in Africa is misleaders. Common sense. You just had flood in your country that destroyed the lives of many. Why are you going all out in this? It shows your lack of empathy for the people of Kenya. Once again, it shows William Ruto's lack of empathy for the people of Kenya. This guy who came to power, talking a whole bunch of nonsense, is basically doing some of the things that he spoke against. But what he did, one thing that I find interesting about it, whether he did this ahead of time, okay, like this chartering this plane, okay, was done ahead of time, prior to the death of Ibrahim Raisi. It is bad. But if this was fear, okay, because one source that I read state that the plane that the Kenyan government is using for the president is over 30 years old. I know Ibrahim Raisi's plane, okay, was over 30 years old as well. If that's the case, then it begs the question, why don't you develop or improve your system at home? It is very sad. African leaders, when they get sick, they go to the United States, they go to Europe, they go somewhere else for treatment. But these fools are doing nothing to improve the system at home. They are doing nothing to provide incentives so that African people, African children, African youth will want to become lawyers, doctors, and so on, and stay at home and work at home in Africa. All of African youth are risking their lives. Many are dying in the Mediterranean, trying to go to Europe where they are basically disrespected. If the Kenyan government plane, if it is old, one, get another one, or create a strong aviation system where Kenya work with other African countries can start manufacturing plane. Stop going to Dubai or wherever around the world and chartering plane. Honestly, this was no diplomatic or executive state visit. This was basically a vacation. That's what this was. So basically, William Ruto basically spent $1.5 million of the Kenyan people's hard-earning tax to go on vacation, while at the same time implementing austerity measures on the people of Kenya. This is a sad story. Very sad. African leaders get sick, they go to Europe, they go to Asia, they go to America for treatment. But they never improve, okay, or develop their medical system in their country. William Ruto went to Dubai to rent a plane for 1.5 million people, while people in Kenya who've lost everything due to the flood continue to live in the stress and in the pity, okay, in the sorrow of everything that they've lost. Somebody needs to look at this man in the face and basically tell him that he is wrong for what he did. Now, I want to read a couple of things, okay, from one of the sources. Okay, this is from BBC. It reads, "The benefits from this visit far outweigh such a million times." Government spokesman Isaac Mwara told the BBC without confirming the cost. Now, I remember this name because when I talked about the flood in Kenya, he was one of the people who were talking, the spokesman. No, it doesn't. What so much is William Ruto talking with Joe Biden that justifies spending the people of Kenya's $1.5 million to rent a private jet, luxury jet? Is William Ruto the president of Kenya, or is he a celebrity, an African celebrity who wants to look good and go on vacation? I'm going to continue. More than 30 people, including a popular comedian, are reported to be accompanying the president, who landed in Atlanta, Georgia on Monday. So this is like names that they are calling him in Kenya. The tax collector president sparking Kenyan anger. Okay. Africa's flying president on the fire. So also these are names that they are calling him, but also articles. Once again, the tax collector president sparking Kenyan anger, and Africa's flying president on the fire. Basically, that's who and what he is, the flying president of Africa. Ruto is on a 4-day visit at the invitation of his U.S. counterpart, Joe Biden. I'm sorry, Ruto is not a counterpart of Joe Biden. African leaders have no power. Unless you unify Africa and stand up as one, you are not a counterpart of white presidents around the world. You are a subjugated people. Though it is being done neo-colonially, you are not a counterpart of them. China Xi Jinping is a counterpart of Joe Biden or Rishi Sunak. Vladimir Putin is a counterpart of Joe Biden, not William Ruto. I'm going to continue. It is the first state visit of a Kenyan president to the United States, U.S., in 2 decades, and the first by an African leader in 16 years. You are not a counterpart. They don't care about you, African leaders. The first state visit to the United States in 2 decades by a Kenyan president, and the first of an African leader in 16 years. And it is very interesting that just recently, Liberia's president, Joseph Boakai, and Liberia, as I said earlier, is quote-unquote Little America, which doesn't mean anything. It's just a useless title. America has done nothing that will make, or I believe should make Liberian proud to say, yes, we are toe-to-toe with this country. They are our brothers. Basically, Liberia is a subjugated country that hasn't established a United States base yet on Liberian soil. I mean a physical military base, and I do believe that is coming. One source, okay, it is basically stressed here. We did not pay for President Ruto's jet to America, says U.S. government. I'm going to read. The United States government did not pay for President William Ruto's jet to America, a spokesperson of the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi has said. And quote open. Just to be clear, the United States of America did not pay for President Ruto's jet to the U.S., quote close, said the spokesperson. So this is very sad. It is interesting. Very, very interesting. Another source, okay, I highlight stuff here. And it reads, according to a breakdown of fees, the Boeing 737-700 business jet operated by Royal Jet of Dubai can be chartered for $18,000 or 2.4 million per hour, Kenyan shilling. I'm going to read that again. According to a breakdown of fees, the Boeing 737-700 business jet operated by Royal Jet of Dubai can be chartered for $18,000 or basically 2.4 million Kenyan shilling. This is bad. This is bad, and it is disrespectful. Okay? I'm sure William Ruto basically did talk about sending troops to Haiti. I think he still wants to carry on that activity. But honestly, he is probably going in for a devastating blow to Kenya. Because the people of Haiti, they are not going to play. So I do believe they are going to give Kenya a very tough blow. But I want to add this. I've been thinking, West Africa, And Nigeria has a very strong relationship to the Caribbean states, to the Afro Caribbean states. It is very interesting that this whole thing, that the United States is egging Kenya to go into Haiti instead of countries such as Nigeria. I was able to come up with a conclusion. I do believe the reason why they are forcing Kenya to do that is because Nigeria was supposed to be left freely so that Nigeria can deal with the situation in the Sahel. And that's what the fuss was about last summer when we saw the coup in Niger. You cannot have Nigeria setting African straight for the West, okay, in Africa, in West Africa, if Nigeria is bogged down in Haiti. So I believe this is why countries such as Kenya is being egged to do it, to go into Haiti, so that Nigeria and the rest of West African giants can deal with Africa, okay, with countries such as Niger. But I'm going to end here. Please tell me what you think. Tell me what I'm missing, what I say wrong, and what I can get right. But most importantly, thank you very much for watching The Echoing Voice. Peace.